Teens Day.
Can you guys all say Teens Day on 3? 1, 2, 3. Teens
Hi, I'm Marianne. Welcome to Teens Day, where teens and parents learn, share, and vent. Today we're going to learn. We're at South County High School with Coach Rolander, football coach of the state champions of Virginia. Awesome! Thank you for talking to us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
So thank you for letting us come to the banquet.
You're welcome.
Did you see this happening? State champions?
No, I thought we got to week 7 or 8 and we had been winning. Had been winning pretty handily. And we were coming up on a couple games where Lake Braddock was week 10 and we're going to get in the playoffs. And I met with our guys, our leadership group, with a couple of the other coaches, and I looked at them. I said, "Listen, it doesn't feel like it's week 8. It just feels like it's just another day of practice." And when we got to that week 10 game and we beat Lake Braddock again, when we got into the playoffs, I thought there was nobody that was going to be able to beat us, and the only team that was going to be able to beat us is us. We got to Westfield and played a heck of a game, and we came out with them 28-21. It was a heck of a game. It came down to the last play, so it was huge. I'd like to introduce Matt Dezersky, our starting quarterback, first team All-District, first team All-Region, first team All-State, Player of the Year, All-Met. What else were you? All-DMV. Matt kind of was the heart and soul of the program and the team this year.
Can you give advice to teens out there that are 9th grade or even 8th grade about football, how to go into it with their heads, and just tell us a little about what your journey is going to be like after high school?
Kind of thing that I took away from this whole thing was I met friends for life. Like these my brothers I'll never forget. And coming in freshman year, we just set our mind to a goal and we worked 4 years for it. So that's just, you set your mind to something, you can do it. And just know the people you do it with are very special, and I'll never forget this moment. I'll never forget the guys I did it with. So yeah.
So any scholarship offers, can you tell us? Sneak preview?
Just like a couple of preferred walk-ons, some D2, some D3. But yeah, it's nice to have options, and I'm just looking forward to the future.
I saw a lot of the kids up there. There was a big group, all over a 3.5. That's impressive. So we're going to talk about that in a minute, but I'll let you keep going. Matt, do you want to say anything else?
I just want to thank the coaches, all the players for a great year. I'll never forget this moment with this team, with these people. I love all of y'all.
Thank you.
This young man, number 59, Deshaun Coleman, I think if you asked any of our players or anybody on the staff, this was probably the guy that made most everybody on the team laugh at least a handful of times during any given day and any given practice. Deshaun has come a long way from his freshman year to be the guy and the man that he is right now, and I can tell you that myself, along with Coach Benoni, couldn't be more proud of the type of person you've turned into, as a senior. So just this, he speaks volumes about the program that we have here and what we try and do for our kids.
How's it going? Doing good. My experiences here for the past 4 years have been great. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of position changes, but I found that where family really is, outside this program, it's just like being at home with my actual family, to come in here and be with them. This is a big impact on my life, especially Coach Donaldson back there. He's sweeping, but he was a big impact on my life and role playing here in football.
So as far as advice to other teens out there, do you think they should participate in playing a sport and being active and not getting into trouble and keeping a family like this? And did your social life, did it entail all these football players?
I think people should really give a chance playing high school sports, because you build a bond with people around you, especially for 4 years. For the upcoming players that play football at South County, just stick with it. Coach Rowe, the whole coaching staff got a plan, and I'm pretty sure the plan that they have for us is going to set you for life. And right now, I'm still working on getting to college scholarships. They came, but I have to get my grades up a little bit, so I'll be going to a prep. But social media, like socializing around, like it's just a good social experience. Like the family, the culture here is just amazing, you know. And I can't be happy to be with anything like a better team. Like I can't speak that much, but this is a good team, and I love them.
So they have never played football. They decide, they get to high school and they're like, you know what? It'd be really cool. Start benching and become a football player and play football. So they could just come out as a freshman with no football experience?
Yep, that was me in high school. I did that.
Wow.
I never played youth football. I loved football growing up. I watched it all the time.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved everything about football. I never played youth football. I think my mom was scared that I would get too many concussions, like most moms are, and I get that. So I came out as a freshman and played all 4 years of high school football, and turned out pretty well. And that's goes back to what I was saying about what freshman football is. It's a developmental year for kids like that. I mean, you have kids that play a bunch and have played before, and then you will have a lot of kids that have never played.
Right. So here's a tough question. What if you have a kid, and I don't know if this happens a lot, because most of the time the kids know. If they really want to play football, dad pushed them to go play football, but, or I don't know, but they're playing football and they're not that good. Will the coach say, well, will you find them another position, or will you say, I don't know, you're not good enough for football, or is that where cuts come in? I mean,
so
the difference between freshman, JV, and varsity.
I can't say about what other schools do. I know at our program we don't have cuts for tryouts.
Really?
If you come out to play football, we'll take you.
Wow.
Now it does.
How do you pick your freshman, JV, and varsity team?
Well, freshmen will be freshmen, and only freshmen.
Okay.
Sophomores don't play freshman football. Juniors don't play freshman football. It's just freshmen.
Okay.
So any kid that is a freshman that comes play will start at the freshman level, and we like to keep our freshman kids together in a group for their first year to kind of build some team cohesiveness. Every now and again, we have a pretty exceptional kid that we feel like can contribute on the varsity level that will pull them up. But for the most part, if you're a freshman, you're probably going to be playing freshman football. Now that's not the case at other schools. I don't know, I don't know what the process is for other schools and how other coaching staffs do that, but that's how we take our freshmen.
Tell us about that freshman, though. Where does that freshman start? Is that freshman starting to make varsity? Are they starting at 4 or 5 years old? Do they have private trainings? What does it take for a freshman to make varsity?
It takes a combination of different things.
I can tell you about cheer because I interviewed the cheer coaches. They're usually on competitive teams from the time they're 4 or 5.
It helps.
They're walking into the high school and they're making varsity.
It helps. It helps if you've been doing your sport for a decade before you get to high school. If you've been doing it for years and years and years before you even get and step onto a high school field, you're going to be a more polished, more technical athlete. That's just how it goes. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do those things in order to play varsity football as a freshman. If you've been blessed with a lot of talent and you're a pretty hard-working kid, you can find yourself on the football field on Friday nights. But it's not a guarantee, and it's not a guarantee even if you've been playing youth league football since you were 4 or 5 years old that you're going to walk in as a freshman and magically be a varsity starter. You have to be able to work hard. You have to be able to be a coachable athlete, and you have to be able to be willing to fit into a team. So that may not be the position that you've been playing all of your youth football. It may be a different spot that you can be successful if you want to play. And if you can do all of those things, you could probably find a spot on the Friday night. But it takes just the difference between playing freshman football and playing varsity football on a Friday night is the game speed is a lot different, and sometimes it takes a year or two for kids to get used to it. But like I said, every now and again you get a pretty special kid that can do it.
What about JV?
JV is where you get to really, really develop the kids that are going to play for you on Friday nights. So you could have a couple freshmen that they're pretty good. They could probably play, practice with the varsity team, but they're not at the level yet physically or even mentally where they can be successful on a Friday night game field, but they can be pretty successful playing with sophomores and juniors. So, JV is like a proving ground for varsity. Freshman is a developmental year or a developmental place where we can take the kids that we have and go, okay, this is where we think we're going to have these kids in the next couple of years. Let's really work on these kids and get them to where we want them to be. JV is a continuation of that process, and then kind of like a proving ground for Friday night. We've had kids that have played primarily JV stuff, JV games for most of the year, and then we'll get to the second half, near three quarters of the way through the year, and they've been producing really, really well at the JV level. They'll come play varsity football. And we have kids that are contributors on special teams and different packages on offense and defense that they play primarily JV on Thursday nights, but they'll see the field Friday nights in those different scenarios. So JV is a little bit more fluid.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how many kids are on a football team?
It depends on how
Varsity,
successful.
JV,
Yep.
and freshman, right?
Yeah, all together, you run between 90 to 150, depending on the population of the school, depending on how successful you've been, depending on how much people want to play football at your school. It can vary, but there have been years here where we've had 150, 160 kids.
Wow.
And there have been years where we've had about 115 to 120. So it just really.
They don't all play.
It's hard. It's hard to get every single one of those kids on the field.
Yeah.
But having those types of numbers makes practicing and preparing to play in state championship games and to play at a high level much, much easier.
So how many kids went with you to Westfield for the state champion? Was the championship here or there?
We played Westfield for the state semifinal at Westfield.
Okay.
And we dressed about 80 kids. And if you ask, I think if you asked a lot of other coaches in the area, 80 kids for a playoff game is a travel playoff game. Nonetheless, is a little much. I think most coaches around the area don't dress that many.
Uh-huh.
We like to dress and bring as many kids as we think we can to try and give them an experience about what it is like to play and to be in a semifinal game, a state semifinal game. We took about 80 kids to the championship game in Hampton for the same reason.
Oh, Hampton was the
state championship.
Oh,
Westfield was the state semifinal.
Okay,
Right.
Wonderful. So how many did you take to Hampton?
Just about 80 kids.
Okay.
So, and like I said,
Did all those kids get a state ring?
Yep, yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't play.
right, yeah, and and even if they didn't play, one of the things that I tried to sell and talk to our kids about who weren't starting guys who were going to play a whole lot was their role on the team. A lot of times the guys that we brought with us that didn't play a whole lot in games, they were giving us a scout look. They were giving us what the opposing defense or opposing offense was going to do, and without them, we wouldn't be able to prepare to play or win a game. Basically, the scout kids, the kids that we had that weren't playing a whole lot in games, what they were able to bring to us in practice was just as important as the kids who were playing. Because if we didn't have those kids in practice, we weren't going to be able to win a game. So every kid that
Because you had more kids to practice and play against?
right, we had more kids that we could dress and go into a practice and say, okay, you guys are going to be what the scout offense is, or you guys are going to be what the opponent's offense is going to be. You guys are going to be what the opponent's defense is going to do. We need you guys to do it as best as you can. And if the more kids that you have, the easier it is to do that. And those kids who dress with us, they were every bit as important to the success we had on the field as the guys who were actually playing. So yeah, everybody who
That's
dressed gets a
great.
ring. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you had a lot of freshmen with you this year.
We did. We had a pretty talented freshman class this year at the freshman level, and we
We
felt
heard that at the banquet too. We're going to show some of that.
Yeah, we felt that we had a pretty solid group of kids that we didn't want to not experience what that's like, because
Yeah.
when you get to that level, the goal is to get back to that level. So we wanted those kids to be able to experience it and know what it was like to get there and what it took to get to that point, so they don't forget it.
Right. So they're going to do it sophomore year, junior year, and senior year.
That's always the goal, but
They're going to have to work hard.
no guarantees, right? You got to be relentless with what you do.
Next thing we want to do is we're going to recognize the freshmen, and I will tell you, and I'll call them up here in a second. But there's going to be a lot of freshmen that earned a varsity letter this year, and for a very good reason. Okay? We had a bunch that came up for the playoffs, and they stuck around. I mean, 15 weeks is a long time, plus camp before that. But they stuck around, and to be honest, Most of them, if not all of them, knew. I'm probably not stepping on the field, but I'm going to do what I can to help make sure this team wins. And sometimes that was kind of getting beaten up in practice a little bit, but they did it. They made us better because they actually played pretty daggone hard. And so there's going to be a bunch of freshmen that are going to earn a varsity letter. When they come up, they will get their letter.
All right, good evening. For those who don't know me, I'm Coach Benavidez. I was the head freshman football coach this past season. We enjoyed a lot of success this year. We went undefeated. We were 8-0. We talked about it going into the season. First day of practice, even in workouts in June, we got the kids together, and at that point we probably had a group of about 20, 22 kids that were consistent. And we looked at them and we told them, you guys are different, you guys are special. And I was being modest. Coach Powell looked at them and said, we're going undefeated today. This is in June. Okay, August comes, we get through all of that. And I brought some numbers here just to explain how dominant this team was. So, defensively, we had 3 shutouts. We gave up 6 touchdowns in 8 games. And of that, the starters gave up 4 touchdowns in 8 games. We averaged 5 points a game on defense, 40 sacks, 30 tackles for loss, 10 interceptions, 3 fumbles. And I only had film for 7 of the games. Offensively, this team was very special as well. Special to the tune of 500 yards passing, and this is freshman. You don't throw the ball in freshman football. 500 yards is insane. Rushing, 2,000 yards rushing, 7 yards a carry, and only 2 fumbles all season. Okay? All of this was possible because all of these kids got together and decided, without me or any of the other coaches having to tell them, that this was their potential. Okay, this is where you guys could get to. This is what you had to achieve. Anything less would have been, honestly, to me, it would have been a failure because you guys were just that good. And you buckled down. We watched film every week. We practiced. We went through the steps, and that's what it takes to be part of the Stallion program. Okay, and you see it as it matriculates up to the upper levels, and you make your hand heavy with the state rank.
It's impressive.
Yes. So, being on a football team, I mean, what is that like for them as kids becoming part of a high school, right? They're putting on those jerseys. They're feeling like they're the football team.
Yeah, it takes a lot of.
They're making friends.
It takes a lot of getting used to if you're a freshman, and we're coming from a new school. If you're part of the football program, you're usually a pretty well-known commodity. You stick out on Fridays when you wear your jersey, and it's why it's so important that our kids represent our team in a good way. Because if they're going out in the community, most people in the community know who you are too if you're playing football. Everybody knows who you are in the school. All your teachers know who you are. All the coaches know who you are from different. Everybody knows who you are if you play football. Most people will have an opinion about what the football team is like based on their interaction with you, and that's kind of the message that we send our kids, that what you do doesn't just affect you. It affects all your teammates. It affects the community. It affects the school. So it can be a lot. Like it can sound like a lot of pressure for a kid to handle, but
I think it's great.
It
keeps them accountable.
It does. It does.
They can't go get drunk on a Friday night and arrested or trash the football field.
Yeah, you're probably off the team if you're doing something like that. But
So I mean, I guess, and they're benching, they're running,
they're working out.
What's their workout like during the week? I mean.
In the off season, we lift 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, for about an hour, maybe hour and a half. It's pretty, I was telling the kids last week. Yeah, I was telling the kids last week. The amount of time we actually spend lifting weights is about 45 minutes. So that hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot of time there, but the time that you're there, it's gonna be hard work. But the hard work pays off. So.
I mean, like one of the big guys is gonna bench something different. Is there a set benching rate, or do they bench what they can, or do they have to work to a certain?
Well, so we have lifting goals for each position group, and those are just basic goals. Like by the time you're a senior and you're playing this position, we would like you to be somewhere in this area. We'd like you to be close to where this is, knowing that not all kids are the same.
Yeah.
You're going to have one kid that is
6'4", weighs 110 pounds is going to have a real hard time gaining weight and getting stronger, and you're going to have a kid that's about 6 foot 220 who's going to have no problem putting up that kind of weight. So with the understanding that you have different kids at different levels, the goal is, as long as you're working as hard as you can, the results will come. And that's all we care about, is that you're working hard, you're going to see results. We're going to base everything that we do off of a percentage of a max. So we'll test them. They'll get a max on bench, squat, deadlift, and power clean. And then from that point on, everything that we do is based off percentages of their max to try and build them up to get stronger than they were before.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And in season, how much are they working out?
We usually lift twice a week.
Twice a week, and then
Once
running, practice.
Well,
what does that look like?
Practice takes care of the running. The way we run practice is here. It's pretty high tempo, up tempo. There's not a whole lot of downtime and rest, so we don't really do a whole lot of conditioning during practice. The practice itself is a little bit of a conditioning exercise.
Yeah.
So the kids don't really need a whole lot of running after practice to get in condition, because we're already doing it. So that, our practices are just as demanding as our games will be, and it's purpose built that way. So when we get to a Friday night, those kids can just go out and perform and not really think about how hard it is.
Game ready.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That's awesome. So they win a game on a Friday night, and then do they practice on Saturday morning?
They don't practice, but we will bring them back in around 7 o'clock. They'll lift weights on Saturday morning and do some yoga, kind of stretch out, loosen everything up, hopefully help them recover. And then we'll watch film with them from the night before. They'll go home, and the coaching staff will stay and finish breakdowns for next week and scouting our opponent for next week.
Yeah, we have a clip of Mrs. P. I guess she does
exactly.
yoga on Saturday morning.
She helps us do yoga.
So do the kids ever give her a hard time about doing yoga?
Heck no, they love it.
Do they?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do all football teams do that, or just you guys?
I don't know. I hope they all do it. It's a pretty good exercise to do. But we've been doing it for the past couple of years and been pretty pleased with it.
Yeah, I haven't heard it. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I know during the awards, I was like, wow, they do yoga. That's awesome.
We try to.
Do they do that at the college level too?
At the college level, it's a whole different animal. They do all kinds of stuff. Yoga is just a part of what they do. So if we could do the things that a college level program could do, man, it'd be nice.
Yeah.
So we have Huddle.
Yep,
Which makes getting scholarships easier these days.
it does.
Tell us a little about Huddle.
So Huddle is a videotape program or videography program that most sports use. Football uses it, baseball uses it, basketball uses it, soccer uses it. It's a really easy way for a team to film a game, put it up on the internet. It's very easily accessible. It's easy for a kid and a coach to work together to put together a highlight reel that then the kid can put out and make public. The coach can also take that highlight reel and send off to prospective colleges that he thinks.
Do coaches do that?
Sure. Yeah.
Really?
Sure. Yeah. A lot of the recruiting process starts and ends with the kid, because that's
In
the person.
all sports or just football?
It happens with a lot of sports. I would say it happens most often with football, because football doesn't have AAU programs or travel teams that kids play in the spring and summer like they do with baseball and basketball and soccer. So the recruiting process for football, I think, is one of the last remaining true high school recruiting processes. You can play, for your high school basketball team, but you're probably getting recruited from your AAU team. And same thing with soccer. It's not that it doesn't happen, but the likelihood that it happens is a little slimmer than with football. So yeah, coaches will send out stuff. Like I know, before Coach Benoni left, he would sit down with kids who wanted to play as juniors and say, okay, do you want to play? If you do, this is what we need to start doing. I'll reach out to some coaches that I know that I think you'd be a good fit at, and we'll get the ball rolling. But after.
So do high school coaches get to know the college coaches?
Very well, and that's one of the reasons.
In other states too.
Of course, yeah.
Do they approach you guys to make the acquaintance, or do you guys approach them?
So it kind of works both ways. A lot of times, coaches that are coming from out of state will have seen or looked at or been told about from either other coaches or a high school coach about a kid at school that we think would be a good fit for them. Right. They'll look at their film that's on Huddle, and then they'll come out here, or they'll be in the area recruiting somebody else at another school, and that coach at the other school will say, hey, if you haven't stopped by South County, if you haven't stopped by Lake Braddock, there's a kid there that I think would be a good fit for you guys, and they'll come by and ask. So it kind of goes both ways. High school coaches will reach out to colleges. colleges will come by on their route through their recruiting area and stop by and ask. So it's a two-way road.
Okay, so you guys know the coaches at Virginia Tech, UVA.
You're not-
Is UVA D1 football?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Tech is
Yep.
D1?
Yeah.
Okay.
So and all of the coaches on college staffs will have different areas of the country, different areas of the Eastern Seaboard, like Virginia Tech and UVA primarily recruit the East Coast. And they'll break up the East Coast into different areas where one coach will be in charge of recruiting the Virginia, Maryland, DMV area. Another coach will recruit the Carolinas. So you get to know one position coach pretty well, and then if you got a kid that they're really interested in, you might get the coordinator, and then you might get the head coach that will come over.
So those recruiting coaches, they're going to definitely look at Huddle and see who's winning state champions, who's making.
Yeah, it's the thing that we tell our kids, like if you want to go play at the next level, the first thing you got to do is be able to put together a good highlight tape, and because that's the first thing that a coach is going to see of you is what you look like on the field. How do you play? The
Right.
next thing that they're going to come see is, okay, we like what we see on film. We think this kid can come play for us. What do his grades look like?
So, Coach Rollander, who is this?
This is Jaden Davis. He came to us from Hayfield. He was originally from here, moved over into the Hayfield area, and then came back for his senior year. And I was just talking to Jaden not too long ago, and the thing that sticks out for me for Jaden is, when he came here, he didn't have a whole lot of background about our program and how we did things, and what our offense looked like, and how he was going to fit into it, and whether he was going to fit into it at all. And the thing that impressed me the most about Jaden was his ability to just pick up what we were doing, learn it, and then apply it, and be able to find a spot that he fit into on our team and have a role. And that role for him took off. And by the time we got to the state championship game, Jaden was on the field for the majority of the game and doing really big things for us. And I think that speaks to the type of kid that he is and the type of program that we have. And I'm really proud of everything that he's been able to do this year with us. I'm just glad that he was able to be a part of it. So, Jaden.
And you spoke very highly of your mom. You were awarded a very nice scholarship. I guess it's the first year that the school has started that scholarship. Do other schools have scholarships like that?
I know of a couple schools that do scholarships that are similar to that, but maybe not exactly like the one that we have from State Farm. There are a couple schools, like Westfield has a really healthy and well-developed alumni association that does things like that, but not very many schools do it like this.
So, how does it feel to earn a scholarship, help mom out, and just be rewarded for such good playing and good academics and be so impressive? I hear you were with a lot of different social. Yeah, tell us about you.
I was here my freshman year, and I unfortunately didn't play football. I was playing basketball, and when I came back, I told my mom that I wanted to play football. She was kind of on the edge about it a little bit, but I kind of convinced her to let me play. And when I came back, I originally wasn't on offense. I was playing defense, and I wasn't getting the type of time that I wanted. And Coach Rollander and Coach McGack came to me and said that we would give you an opportunity on offense. And I went over, and I had played running back when I was little, but hadn't played it any time else. And I kind of fell in love with it again, and I found my great love for football. And I also kind of drive my mom. My mom was my drive a lot for the whole season, because most of the things, everything I do is for her and my late grandfather that died a couple years ago. They've just been my rock. My mom's always been there, been at every game, never missed a game. I don't think even when I go to college she'll ever miss a game. And just to win this award for her and for me was just amazing.
You are so amazing.
I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting to get this. It really means a lot because, one of the biggest things for me applying to the scholarship was my mother. One of the biggest things about me going to college was my mom not having to pay at all, and that was kind of one of the main things of me playing sports. I wanted to get a scholarship, whether it was Division I through Division III, so my mom wouldn't have to pay for school. And we've applied for so many other scholarships besides this one, and to win this one, to get the money that it brings, it just means a lot to me, especially for my mom. So thank you.
You must be glowing, right? So the groups that you belong to, DECA, name a few.
I was a part of DECA. I was a part of the Black Student Alliance and many other organizations. DECA was a really big one for me this year because I was taking entrepreneurship and I want to major in business administration. And DECA is a entrepreneurship type marketing organization that is really helpful. The teachers we have at this school for DECA have been amazing. They take time out of their days to help us with DECA, and it's just been amazing to be a part of something like that.
Coach comes in and says, hey, we really like this kid. We think his film was great. What do his grades look like? If you pull up a GPA of a kid and it's a 2.0, the coach is probably going to say, look, coach, I can't do anything with this. I can't take this back to my head coach. He'll laugh me out of the building. I'll get fired. So there
the
are...
point of going to college is to learn and
Right.
have something after.
Exactly. There's something
Which
to
we
say
have
to
one
be-
of your players we're going to put up now. I think he says it quite well.
Yeah.
So we'll put him up.
And what advice do you want to give teens out there about academics when they feel like they should be out there playing around, or, I don't know, not take their grades as seriously, or use as the excuse that, you know, they have football, they have track, they have cheerleading, or whatever? What advice do you want to give those teens out there about academics?
One thing that I'll always remember what people told me about academics, when I used to play basketball, they always said that someday the ball is going to stop bouncing. And for football, there's going to be a day where you don't put that helmet on, where you don't put those shoulder pads on, and you don't run out on that field and play. And all you'll have is what you have up here. And I feel like that's the one thing that has always stuck with me, that I've always strived through my grades no matter what was going on with my sport. And especially this year, overcoming adversity of not playing in the beginning of the season and then coming into a role and making it my own was everything. And it helped me even drive my grades too. This was my first year making AB honor roll for the first and second quarter. And it was just a combination of both football and grades, just me being able to do what I do on the field and still maintain what I do in the classroom and to keep a 3.5 throughout the season. So it was amazing.
That's great. That's so impressive. Do you know what school you're going to go to yet?
No, I'm undecided right now. I've had a couple visits to some schools, and I recently just got an offer this weekend, and hopefully more to come, and hopefully I'll be making my decision as soon as possible.
You know, the number of players that got 3.5s, I think this is the most that we've ever had, and I think it's a direct reflection on this team. These guys, you know, we worked on a change of culture a little bit in this program, and these guys are the driving force.
So along with the linebackers that dominated at their level, this defensive line was special this year. Back in April or May, we were sitting in a meeting and they said, Coach, we want to be the best D-line in the state. Not in the region, but the state. And they did the work, they put the effort in, they grinded it out every day in the weight room, between the coaches on them all the time, Coach P, yelling at them, screaming at them, sometimes making Harsh cry a little bit. But they worked hard, and it comes down, Coach Reed talks about AK making that play on the goal line. Well, along with those linebackers, this D-line made a goal line stand right before the half to keep the score 14-13. And with those linebackers stepping in behind them, and these guys taking the line up front, we're able to win that game with that same score. We had 3 first-team All-Region, 2 All-State, 2 All-Met, and the Defensive Player of the Year in the state in this group. Yeah, that's yours.
So not only do they have to have the mentality, you have to have the talent.
Correct. Yeah. It doesn't have, like, you can, you know, a little bit of talent and a lot of hard work will go a long way compared to a lot of talent and a little bit of work. So, you know, the thing that we stress to our kids is, you know, you may not be the most talented dude. We may not be the most talented team, and I think if you asked any of our coaches in the room that were on that field in Hampton, they would tell you that Oscar Smith was the more talented team. I think we were the harder working team, and you know.
And had the mentality.
That message, right? That message is a message that we want to continue to spread to our kids. That doesn't matter how talented you are. If you guys are a team and you work hard together, you're gonna win.
That's awesome.
The mentality was, with whatever we do, whenever we do it, we're going to do it with a winning mentality. It's going to be something that we are going to attack with every bit of our being, and we're going to do it to the best of our ability, because we don't know any other way to do it.
That's awesome.
So it brings me to support and players. So kids on the team are supporting one another. So they're usually happy when another one is a starter and doing so well. And in football, there seems to be a lot of injuries. So they shouldn't think that, I guess they're not going to get out there, because they may get out there because of an injury, right?
Yeah, it's one of the other messages that we try and push out to all our kids, that it could be the next play that the guy that's in front of you gets hurt and is out, and you're going to have to be the next guy up. And you have to be prepared to step on the field at any given moment and be successful. So yeah, it doesn't happen a lot. I think we've been pretty fortunate, especially last year. We were extremely fortunate that we didn't experience a rash of injuries. We had a couple.
Right.
We had a defensive lineman that broke his ankle, and a kid had to step in, and we were able to be successful with a couple different kids that rotated in. But it does happen,
Right.
and when it does happen, the kids that we've been working with, if we've been doing our jobs as coaches, they should be prepared to go play.
So Coach P, what a memorable night. What a banquet. We came a great night. The first time that South County has ever gotten a state championship.
Yeah, it was it's a special night. It's I think I might have been cried out a little bit about leaving and that kind of stuff. So
And that's the other thing. He's leaving with our seniors, so he's going on a new journey,
yeah.
and they're going on a new journey.
Oh yeah. So it'll be Friday's my last day here, and Sunday I'll be on a flight to New Mexico. And
What a present South County gave you, though. This is the first time, right, that you guys
yeah.
have earned a state champion?
Oh, it definitely is, and this school, like I said, was very, very, very special place. I don't know that it can never be matched. So.
And Coach Rollander was telling us that it was more like a family, and I saw that here tonight, especially with you and your wife and your daughter. I was very impressed, and all the moms and everybody. It just seemed like a really happy place. So some of the schools that we go to and we hear, some of the parents are like, oh, this football coach won't play my kid. Oh, this football coach did this. So what advice can you give to parents? Like, what's involved in that? If there are coaches that have good kids on the team, but for some reason there's, I don't know, maybe some favoritism or something, or egos, or I don't know what goes into it when you pick certain kids, but what can you advise parents to do?
I mean, parenting is tough. We have 4 kids of our own, so.
Me too.
Yeah, but just, a lot of it is patience. It's always just trying to teach your own kids a lesson. Sometimes it's not lessons that you want them to learn, nor is it things that you think might even be fair to them. But I think they need to know that that's the way life is, and I think if you try and rescue your kids all the time, at the end of the day, maybe you're doing them a disservice, rather than let them work through, let them try and figure out how they can be better, how they can make themselves more usable, if that's the right word. We had some kids this year that I think parents at the beginning of the year were probably upset. Well, how come my son doesn't play? And the only thing I could ask them is just you got to have patience, and you got to trust the coaches. If you have patience and you trust the coaches, at the end of the day, what's supposed to happen is going to happen for your son. But again, at the end of the day, what's going to happen for your son may not be exactly what you want, but are they learning a lesson? And somewhere down the line, are they going to be a quote unquote better person for it?
So do you think winning the state championship will open doors that all of a sudden for these kids that, with scholarships that didn't come forward, or is it?
I don't know.
You got a lot of first, all kinds of champions out there going to the World of Fame.
Yeah,
too.
but recruiting for college sports is it's a different animal. It's a different thing, and it's because we're the best team in the state doesn't necessarily mean we have the best players in the state. Even though if you look at like first team all districts or regional state, yeah, they were great high school football players. there's teams that we beat that their kids are going to play in the Big Ten or the Southeast Conference or, you name it, big schools. But we were a better team. And, there's a lot to be said for that. So,
Unity.
yeah, oh yeah. But I mean, some of the kids will play in college. Some will, they're all going to go to college or they're all going to do what they're supposed to. At the end of the day, we've had, in my, 9 years here, there's 2 kids from this school that play in the NFL. Out of how many? That's, that's a small percentage. So it's.
I love how you gave the school a scholarship too. I don't think there's many coaches out there who do what you do.
And I don't have as fancy a check because this is hand done. But I do have the real check. So first of all, that's the real check. Okay. And then this is the hand done check. So we're going to start it as a $1,000 scholarship in the Pannoni family name. This scholarship will go to a graduating senior football player and that's going to play football in college. And maybe they can't get money to play, whatever the case is. But we'll set the criteria, and we want this to be a continuous thing for as long as South County High School exists.
I'm grateful that I got to meet you before you left, and we could, show the parents out there what a great coach is. And I'm sure your coach is great too, but this is a great guy here. Must be because you're Italian like
It
me.
must be, I think, yeah.
But a scholarship, that was so nice. What made you want to do that?
If you heard me, so we do one at my high school that I graduated from.
I heard that.
And, a lot of it is, so my mom died when I was younger. She was pretty young. But when I got to the high school, she got involved and did a lot of stuff. And I felt like I needed to give back to my high school in her name. Because my high school, for me, those 4 years were special for me. It's kind of the same sentiment here. I mean, this place has been special for me. My wife has a bad disease, and it's not a disease that can be cured. And so I wanted to be able to give something back in our family name, and probably eventually it'll be in my wife's name. But
You're a great guy. Thanks for having us out here, Coach B, and the best of luck to you. What advice would you give teens out there? I know you said you always tried to be a great example for them so they didn't wind up dead in high school, which you hate to see. Stupid drugs, stupid accidents, being stupid with cars. So what advice would you give those teens out there? How do they control that wild side or that I dare you to jump off that, I don't know, on your motorcycle? I don't know.
Don't live by your emotions every second of the day. I mean, there's teenage years are emotional years for kids. I mean, they're learning who they are. They don't know who they are. They're still learning who they are. The biggest thing is us for adults is, how can we keep these kids alive, and how can we let them continue to move on? Be confident in yourself. Stay true to yourself. Don't try and be somebody just because somebody says you should do that or be that. And I think they'll be okay.
Good advice. Thanks, Coach, and best of luck to you in New Mexico.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What does it take to become a head coach of a football team in Fairfax County?
Well, it's funny. You'd think that you'd have to have like prereqs and different classes or different degrees, but as far as being a coach, there's not a whole lot that you need. It's good to have experience. It's good to have a resume of places that you've been and coaches and teams that you've been with. But as far as things needed, there's not a whole lot to it.
You need to be relentless.
Yeah, you do. You really do. You need to be relentless in your pursuit of excellence and what you do and how you do it. But there's not a whole lot to say about what you need. I will say this: if you come to an interview and put a resume in for a head coaching job and don't have anything, you're probably not going to get an interview. So the needs are prior experience, but that goes with just about any job.
How many years have you been here?
I started coaching here in 2011, so this will be my 9th year, going on 10.
Okay, so you know the school.
I know the school pretty well. I graduated from this high school in 2006, in June of 2006.
Did you play football here too?
I did. I played for Pete Bendorf when the school opened in 2005, and graduated and went to the Citadel in Charleston.
Wow. What position did you play?
I played defensive line.
Wow. Very nice. I did not know that.
Yep.
Okay. So tell us, there are these parents, okay, and I know, like, it's not like you don't know anybody and that it's rare. It's very common. For football, these parents start their kids off when they're 4 and 5. They're playing football. It's so fun. We go watch these little football players, right? But then 7th grade, 8th grade, they're moving to go to a major school where they feel their kids are going to get great coaches and state champions like you guys just got. But they move their kids because they want to achieve college scholarships. Can you tell us about this craziness? Do a lot of parents do that?
It happens. It happens. This area in particular, because it's so close to DC and we have so many different military bases and military families, we get a lot of people that move in and out, and we'll get people that will come in. They're moving from Maine or they're moving from North Dakota or California, and they'll come in and they'll look around the area, and they'll talk to the community members, they'll talk to different schools, and they'll look at what programs are doing well, what programs are kind of on mediocre, and a lot of times they'll base their decision on where they're going to go, especially if they have a kid who plays sports, on the success of that sports team and the history that team has. So it's not uncommon. I think you could ask any coach from any sport around any school, and they'll tell you that in any given year around here, you probably get 1 or 2 kids that move into your district. Whether it's for coming to play for this team, or coming because dad got a new job, or because they just want to go to a different school. Like there's a lot of different reasons kids do it, but it does happen.
Yeah. So why is football such a business? Like if you tell someone, I said to a coach, well, kids get a lot of soccer scholarships and football scholarships, but the soccer scholarships, which soccer is really big in Virginia, but the scholarships are rare. And we interviewed Adam Perron, Coach Adam Perron from James Madison University, which you can find on TeenSay. And we talked about D1, D2, D3, which are the same questions I want to pose to you. I want to hear in football how they make D1, D2, D3. What's the criteria? What are the scholarships? And just how do they get there? It starts in high school. How do we get here?
a lot of kids around just about any high school you go to. A lot of kids on the team that want to go play college football, want to go play the next level, are probably playing Division III football. There's not a very big slice of, especially public schools in particular, not a very big slice of kids from public schools that will go and play Division I football. It takes an exceptionally talented, exceptionally gifted, and exceptionally well-rounded academic type of kid to play Division I football. So a lot of our kids end up going to D3 schools, and D3 schools are D3 primarily because of population and size, and that's really the biggest determining factor of whether or not you are a Division III, Division II, Division I school. Like, for example, Frostburg State University up in Maryland has been a Division III school for years. Their enrollment has grown big enough that they can support being a Division II school, and so they've moved up to the Division II classification and have been pretty successful there. So a lot of it has to do with population, enrollment.
Are there a lot of D2 schools?
There are, yeah. The short answer is yes.
So tell us D1, D2, D3.
Yeah.
Break down the scholarships, because football is the money.
So Division I and Division II schools can give out and give kids athletic scholarships.
Usually a full ride for a great football player?
They'll go anywhere from partial to full to a preferred walk-on with an opportunity to earn money. They have all kinds of different options.
Slow down, preferred walk-on.
So a preferred walk-on, like if I were to go to college now, if I was a high school kid coming out of high school, pretty successful as a football player, didn't get a whole lot of looks or offers from schools. Not a whole lot of schools came to talk to me, but I wanted to play football.
Yeah.
I could potentially. Most schools have like a walk-on day or a couple days where they'll take kids that are on campus that want to play. They'll take a look at them and see whether or not they're good enough for the team.
Okay.
A preferred walk-on is essentially a way for a school to have a kid that they think they could play for them, try out for the team, and not give them a scholarship. And it's not because they don't want to give them a scholarship. Usually it's because they have scholarship offers and commitments from kids that have taken up their allotted amount of scholarships for the year.
Right.
But they have room, and they're going to have room for a kid that could walk on. So a preferred walk-on is basically you got a spot on the team to
But we're not
walk
gonna
on
give
and
you
try
money.
out. We can't give you money now. There is a potential that you could earn money, and there's just a potential that will take you on the team. So it really depends on the school, what they have, as far as funding is concerned, and as far as the number of scholarships that they have that they can give out.
So there's a lot of money there.
Yeah, there usually is.
College is expensive, so
at
if you
the-
could get a
Yeah, at the
full
Division
ride.
One level, at the Division One level, there's a whole lot of money there, and if you can find yourself lucky enough to be offered a full ride scholarship, that's pretty special.
so D2.
D2 is pretty similar to Division One, and how they do what they do with recruiting, with scholarships and preferred walk-ons. The only difference is they may not have as much money to play with to give scholarships. They may not have as many scholarships to give, but it's essentially the same process. The biggest difference between D1, D2, and D3 is at the Division III level.
Which
They-
seems to be the common level.
They cannot give out athletic scholarships.
Academic scholarships.
Most of it comes in the form of academic scholarships, and even then, if you don't qualify for the academic scholarship, there's not a whole lot that the school can do to help you. That being said, if you're being recruited by a Division III school and they want you to come play, they're going to do everything they can to figure out ways to get you an academic scholarship.
Right.
But that's about as far as scholarship money goes for Division III level kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the out-of-state schools, I guess they'll make in-state tuition for D3 or D2 or D1. To make it affordable for those kids.
I can't say with 100% confidence that's how it works for every single school. I know that coaches and admissions departments will see how they can make it affordable for a kid. It may not be, for you, we're going to make it in-state tuition. It may be in the form of a couple different scholarships, but I know that if a college, a football program is really interested in a kid coming to play, that football program and group of coaches is going to work with the admissions office as much as they can to make it possible, especially at the Division III level,
Right.
to make it possible for that kid to attend.
So if a kid really loves football,
Mhm.
so this comes down to now the kids are 18, they're going to college,
Yep.
right? So it's really their choice now, right? So they get accepted to a great college that's, doesn't have a football team,
Right.
or is D1 football and they're not making the D1 football team and they haven't got a preferred walk-on. Maybe, I don't know. So now we know they can possibly walk on to the team.
They could.
Or they could play club and maybe work up to it another year or whatever. But if they get a choice between a really great academic school,
Mm-hmm.
but they really want to play football and they're getting recruited from D3 schools, how do they make that choice?
That's a hard decision to make. It's a really, really hard decision to make, and a lot of times it comes down to the kid. It's something that when I was coming out of high school, looking at colleges to go to, that I had an opportunity to go and play at the Division III level, and I had an opportunity to go to a school like the Citadel in Charleston. And I sat down with my mom and dad, and I wrote down the top 3 schools that I was interested in. The Citadel was one of them, and the other 2 schools that I was looking at were Division III schools that were interested in me playing football.
Yeah.
And so I sat down with him and I wrote out all of the things I liked about every single school and all the things I didn't like about every single school, and then I just took stock of what I thought about these schools and made my decision based off of the pros and the cons of every school. And a lot of times kids will go to school, figure out when they get there, like, you know what, this is not what I thought it was. And there's an opportunity for kids like that to transfer to go to another school, but it comes down to the kid. I can't force a kid to go somewhere. I can give him my opinion on it, and I can try and help him make a decision based on what he wants to do. But it's a hard decision.
Do you
It's
have a lot of
really, really
kids
hard
come to
decision.
you with those decisions?
We get kids, yeah. We get kids every year that'll come and say, "Coach, what do you think I should do?" And I walk through the same process I just talked to you about that I did with my mom and dad. I said,
Yeah.
okay, what are your top schools? What do you like about these schools? What don't you like about these schools? And then we'll have a deeper conversation after that. But it starts with the pros and cons.
So, and then you have the kid, like, what if they were offered a really great scholarship, you know, from a school they didn't really know? And they're like, oh, but I really wanted to go to that one. I guess it's the same thing. But my thing is, they can't pick a school based on a scholarship. Just, like, let the school pick them.
You're right. They shouldn't. That's part of the process, and
which does happen, I know.
it does. No, it does.
Football,
You'll get schools that'll come from either out of state or in state that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
But they've heard of you. They've watched your film. They've come to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's really important that if you get a school like that as a kid, you should take the opportunity. One, if a school's really interested in you, it's worth your time going to check it out. Go visit the school.
Course.
Go schedule a visit. Go see what the school's about. You never know. You may never have heard of this school, but you may get down there and it turns out, man,
It's a great school.
this is awesome. And
Yeah.
you may end up going there. It may be the best decision you've made in your life. So, just because you don't know what a school's about, or you've never heard of them, doesn't mean there's not a really great opportunity for you there.
So do a lot of teams usually have like 2 or 3 players go to the same college? Because those recruiters are here and they look at certain kids?
We had that happen this year, and not all the
We
kids
hear
that
them
the recruiter.
weightlifting. Can you hear that, Tom?
They're getting after it. We've had that happen this year with a couple kids. Not every kid went to this school, but the coaches from the school saw one kid, saw a couple other kids in the same class, and go, man, they would be great.
Yeah.
Can we talk to them? And if a college coach wants to come talk to a kid, we're probably going to get them in the room so they can talk. At least talk to each other. It doesn't happen as often as I think people think it does. And we get kids that are real close buddies in high school all the way through senior year, and then go their separate ways and go to different colleges. It happens. Doesn't happen a whole lot though.
Yeah. I heard a couple of them on the football team near us, and they were like, "Where are we going?
Yeah.
Like, are we going here? Or are we going there?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
and sometimes it
oh, they're
happens
a
like
package
that.
deal.
Sometimes it happens like that. And you'll get kids that'll be like, you know what? I don't want to play football, but I will play if I can go to this school with my friend.
yeah,
It happens,
yeah.
but it doesn't happen a whole lot.
Right. Well, then they make that new school in another state theirs.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
Good. With football, I mean, with soccer, there are very few scholarships. So in football, if they're not getting a scholarship, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not great at football.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. There's opportunities there for kids to play at the next level everywhere.
And club is usually, right?
Exactly. You can play club. You can play intramural stuff. There are things you can do outside of playing on a football team at a college level that will just be just as fulfilling for you.
And in college and in high school. In college, I know the football teams travel a lot, so they have access to tutors and stuff. What about high school? They don't. Do they have that same access? And
we can put our kids in touch with tutors. We have tutoring programs that run here in school. We have kids that our AP students in math, history, and science will sometimes put together a tutor group. We have on Saturdays we have a group that comes in that runs a tutoring program. There are opportunities for our kids to find tutors. They may not be as direct at the college level where a coach can go, okay, you're going to go see this person right now.
Right.
But there are ways for us to help our kids find that kind of resource.
Well, football sounds like a fun sport.
My favorite sport ever.
Big team participation.
That's right.
And wearing that jersey, walking around school.
Yep.
So, what advice do you want to give the kids out there about football, about life?
And whatever you decide to do with your life, whether it's play football, play lacrosse, be in the marching band, be in the choir, or just be a great student in class, whatever you do it to the best of your ability. And I promise you, as long as you're working hard, somebody's going to see it, and good things will come.
My advice to you all would be to follow Coach Rollinger's advice about pros and cons for every school, sitting down with your parents. But at this point, at this stage in life, it's up to you. It's your life. It's not your friend's life. It's not your parents' life. It's yours. You have to make your own decisions. So, would you agree?
100%. 100%.
Great. Okay. Well, until the next time, thank you for listening. And if you want to share a topic idea with us, feel free to email us we'll put the email address up. Bye-bye.